My brothers keep a show, I gotta let them know. Tuesday, 7 p.m., gotta let them know. 3 M's meant to model, gotta multiply. God gets all the glory, hands in the sky. My brothers keep a show. Introduce the host. My brothers keep a show. Introduce the host. Pastor Dr. Michael Green.
Good evening and welcome to the greatest show on this side of greatness. Of course, it is the My Brother's Keeper show, and we are welcoming you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And this is a terrific Tuesday, Tony the Tiger, terrific Tuesday. It's great. And again, we are a show where greater men continue to make men great with a spirit of excellence. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, joining me on this wonderful evening is Dr. Bryan Champion. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Also, I'd like to welcome Dallas, Fort Worth, San Antonio, Texas, Raleigh, Durham, North Carolina, North and South Carolina, New Jersey, Maryland, Washington, D.C., Virginia is in the house, and all the way on the West Coast. We do have Pomona, California, as well as Ontario, California. And shout out to the Imani Christian Cathedral Fellowship under the leadership of Bishop Jelani Kafela. Thank you so much for your support. And traveling back over to the East Coast, Christian Methodist Episcopal Church, presiding prelate over the 7th District, Bishop James B. Walker. Again, thank you so much for your constant support with My Brother's Keeper. Also, remember, you can catch us on YouTube after the show, LinkedIn as well, and Vimeo. And Dr. Champion, welcome, man. How you doing?
Man, I'm doing great. How's everything with you?
Man, I cannot complain.
All right. Well, first of all, let me say, in this month of October, I know there's a lot of special awareness days. Yes. And we'll probably talk about some of that a little bit. But for you, I want to acknowledge Pastor's Appreciation Month.
Thank you, sir.
And, just to say congratulations to you. Appreciate the work that you're doing. Amen. And, stay encouraged as you continue to minister to the St. Matthew Church.
Amen. And the great work that we are doing. We do have a drive-in movie coming up, and more details will follow with the date as we finalize that date where we're going to do the drive-in, and that's going to be something that's going to be very powerful, not only for the family but of St. Matthew, but for the community. And definitely looking forward to continuing to engage the community. Ladies and gentlemen, also want to let you know that My Brother's Keeper show is definitely, again, broadcasting from the Angels of Hope in Southeast Washington, D.C., a ministry in existence for over 25 years, serving this community through dance, mentorship, and they do drug awareness, and definitely they are boots on the ground, making things happen. So we are definitely blessed and God thankful to be able to be here to bring the show from this location.
Amen. And today we are broadcasting live. As you know, last week we tried something unique and new where we pre-recorded. Yes. I think this may have been the first time that we had actually done a pre-recorded episode of the show.
Yes.
We recorded early, and then in turn we logged in an attempt to engage with the viewers during the chat. So we'd like to know what you thought about that and how you felt about us doing that, because we may be doing it more in the future. Yes. And so we just appreciate any feedback that you'll share with us.
I kind of liked it. I kind of enjoyed kind of just being interactive and just participatory as one of the, as like a viewer, and we're all in and we're getting information and sharing information. I really liked it.
Well, and for me, it was different because I know our producer, Sister Beverly, will often monitor the chat and share things with us, and you're able to see who is logging on and everything. Yes. So you all have been able to engage, but I, haven't had that same ability during the show. And so this was different for me. So to see individuals log on, to actually read their comments live and be able to respond with some insight, I thought was, really great and a nice way to, join in the show.
Very good. Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get ready to get kicked off, but only after telling you to vote, vote, vote. Definitely 28 days until we are to vote, or until November the 3rd. The greatest party we're going to have is on November the 3rd, so we encourage you to come out and be a part of that great party and make your voice heard by voting. So 28 days.
That's right, 28 days. We're right now the first Tuesday in October, and on the first Tuesday of November, we will be in the mix. Can you imagine, man? And I remember, 4 years ago when the election, and I just, oftentimes this happens, how you began to watch as the polls close.
Yes.
And when the polls close and they start showing which states are going to be red and which are going to be blue, and and some of it is what you expect. You expect certain places to be that way, but then all of a sudden you start seeing those surprise states,
those shifts,
and you start getting a little, a little rumbling in the room if you're watching it with others, because something that we weren't expecting begins to take place. So I engage you to vote, and I engage you to also stay connected with what's going on during the election process. As we've stated before, we all are very aware of the importance of the presidential election.
Yes.
However, we still want to extremely press upon you the importance of your local election. And I mean, that's regardless of who you elect. If it's the school board superintendent, if it's the mayor, if it's the city dog catcher,
that's right.
You want those elected officials of your community to be aware of your community needs. And the only way we can do that is when we cast a vote.
Absolutely. And even with the judges, our district judges, and so we want to make sure that we are making our voice heard by casting, because again, when we start putting the elected officials in, they respond to our needs.
Absolutely.
So,
and I mean, we can blame one person, in which we often do. We often will blame the president of the United States for the culture that's set. But the reality is that your community still can function under a very different culture if you get engaged and get involved in it. If you vote, standing in protest is only a way of making your voice heard, but a way that actually makes change happen is when you cast that ballot.
Absolutely. I saw some very interesting numbers, if I can. During the 2016 election, Trump won Wisconsin by 23,000 votes. In Milwaukee, 93,000 African Americans didn't vote. Trump won Florida by 113,000 votes. In Miami, 379,000 African Americans didn't vote. And in Michigan, he won by 11,000 votes. And Detroit, 277 African Americans didn't vote. In Pennsylvania, 44,000 votes, because in Philadelphia, 238,000 African Americans didn't vote. Trump won Georgia by 211,000 votes, because in Atlanta, 530,000 African Americans didn't vote. Those are some alarming numbers, because that lets us know that the power of your voice to vote, we need you to get out and get someone else to the poll. Even if you're going to vote, make sure you get someone else out to the polls to vote. Also, if you see a long line, help someone out with by giving water and aiding them and assisting each other, because again, the heat is turned up. And this right now, the rubber is where the rubber meets the road. So we're encouraging you to get out and be active in this election, leaving no stone unturned.
Those numbers are alarming, and statistics are very misleading at times too. And what we have to recognize is that this political structure is not working in our favor, first of all. So first of all, we have to look at it is that 4 years ago, the person who received the most votes was not the person who was elected.
Absolutely.
So that's the first thing that we have to recognize. So we also must recognize that when we don't vote and when we don't do the census, and this is where the census becomes very important, because the districts are divided in ways to control the vote. So those 200,000 people could have voted for it in Atlanta.
Yes.
It would have increased the popular vote.
Yes.
But the question is, would it have increased the way that the state divides its vote? Because some states will, the popular candidate wins all the electoral votes.
Yeah.
Some,
Normally in the past, that's the way I've seen it as well.
but that's how it is but some states, and this is where it's very careful, some states will divide the way the electoral votes go. So over half of the state can maybe only make up 1/3
Yes,
of
sir.
the electoral
Yes,
votes.
sir.
So you can have all these people vote, and if there's 10 electoral votes, you get 4.
Yeah.
And the fewer people
Yes.
get 6.
Yes.
So we have to be very conscious about how things are being distributed. Because while we're asleep, they're drawing new lines. Have you ever woke up one morning, and some of us know this because as I was driving here today, I'm coming down the Baltimore-Washington Parkway. I'm coming down 295.
Okay.
And so as I get off in Suitland Parkway, there's been some construction.
Yes, sir.
So a few weeks ago, there was a new exit. So, but today, the exit wasn't where it was 2 weeks ago.
Come on.
Because it's shifting. The lines
Yes, sir.
are changing. And if
sir.
you're not paying attention, you miss the exit. And that's what's happening to us sometimes.
Yes.
We're not paying attention. We're on autopilot. We assume that
Absolutely.
the lanes and the exits are
Absolutely.
where they always
Absolutely.
were. Only to find out that somebody's been drawing new lines in the middle of the night.
Yes, sir.
And so what we
Yeah.
have to do is keep our eyes open so that we don't miss the exit. So we
Redistricting.
stay in the right lane.
Yeah.
And so that
Absolutely.
we're able to ensure
Absolutely.
that
Absolutely.
our vote is worth what is counted for.
Absolutely. I definitely agree. Watch the lines so you don't miss the exit.
Absolutely.
So definitely, I'm encouraged in that space right there alone to watch the lines where people are trying to move the lines so that we can make our vote count, and definitely continuing to use our voice. Definitely. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready to get right into the book, Chickology, Why Men and Women Cheat, Understanding, Avoiding, and Recovering from Infidelity. I know a lot of times we pay attention to why men and women cheat, but I really want us to concentrate on the recovering from infidelity, because it is possible. I know that, it sticks out in the mind when we say why men and women cheat, and we do know that happens, but we also want to make sure that we are giving sound, good information, even within the book and within the Word of God, that you're getting the information and the content that is necessary to help you recover from such mistakes as well. So don't fret as we are just talking about just certain things with infidelity, but we want to make sure that we talk about cures and ways to get back from that, and steps to go through, meaning that it is a process that you would have to go through. So we don't want you to concentrate on just the bad part, but look at what can possibly happen as a result. So which is a good thing. So we stopped off on I believe it was was it chapter 1, and went through chapter 2. But so I want to pick up in chapter 2, where we were talking about the man cave, the secrets, and the making of the adulterer. And if you were reading along with us, remember you can get this book, sagacitycommunity.com, and you can purchase this book. Again, it's a very powerful book. And if you're not dealing with cheating, and if you're not trying to recover, I think this is a great asset to have in your library, to even peruse and just go through a few of these. And it's a very powerful book with great content in it. And I would encourage you to go to sagacitycommunity.com and do indeed purchase this book. Here we're dealing with chapter 2. We were coming out of chapter 1, where we were dealing with ADD, attention deficit disorder, where men's brains are pretty much relaxed in certain areas when it comes to details. And then we went into chapter 2, so I'm going to pick up in chapter 2 where men oftentimes go to that man cave. And if we're not careful as men, we get in that man cave and we develop certain habits where if our communication is not up to par with our mates, then our wives are telling us as men, no sex, and that's what we're starting to get used to hearing. Then oftentimes we begin to self-pleasure ourselves. And so a lot of those activities, and we talk about the pornography piece, happens in the man cave. Those are where, you know, we put our little stash and we put other things there, and that right there, when we self-pleasure ourselves, then we begin to grow distant from our wives. So just want to pick up right in that space there, and just say that in 2018 there were 34 billion visits to Pornhub over the course of the year. 5 billion over 2017. That equals to an average of 92 billion visitors. Pornhub daily visits exceed 100 million. 30 billion searches, that's 961 searches a second. Get this, 12 new videos and 2 hours of content are uploaded to Pornhub every minute. And that's just one porn site. So I would say that somebody's watching porn. So when we sit back and everyone sit back and they say, well, no, I'm not watching it. And then we even say, it's a sin to do. Somebody's caught into those kind of clutches and clinches. And so being in the man cave, I would venture to say that you can get caught in those spaces if that space of communication is not up to par with your wife. So I wanted to talk about the 6 levels of communication, and if these 6 levels of communication is not up to par, then you run the risk of basically being caught in the midst of that. So the 6 levels of communication, one is small talk. When there's small talk, it is when you just you just kind of like shoot the breeze. Nothing profound is shared. It's like, how you doing? And then, you know, what's up? Have a nice day. That's you know, very surface kind of conversations, one of the levels of communication. Second level of communication is facts. When you share with your mate, it's raining outside, or the Washington football team lost 31-17 by 14 points, and say the stock market is having major fluctuations today. And those are facts. So we're sharing facts. And so those are superficial, safe places of communication. So when you just have those types of communications, it's superficial. You're not really going anywhere with it, but you just basically, you know, just really tread in the waters. And then we have level 3 is the opinion. Now, I was reading this and it was like, wow, because now when we get to our opinion, now this is the risky place right here. That's a risky level of communication, because now the conversation moves from superficial small talk and the undeniable facts to what a person thinks. It's risky because there may very well be disagreement in opinions, which can lead to conflict. You know, so again, if we are not able to communicate, or if we are not able to really just talk with one another, and if we haven't learned how to engage in communication, then you know, number 3 in the book is saying that that's very risky. You know, because you know, it's like, you know, your wife say, child has practice today, and you could say okay. Or if the wife turn around and say, well, I'm going out with Susan later on, and you know, I'll be home late. And then the husband may say, well, you always go home. I mean, you go, I'm sorry. You always go out with Susan, you know, after work. Maybe you need to stay home. So now you're starting to engage in your opinion of what you feel needs to be done. So again, that's a risky place right there. So what would you like to say? You ready to?
No, not at all. I like the progression.
Okay, the progression. Okay, level 4 is feelings. So example is, it's when we are able to express our deepest emotional fears, pains, disappointment, and pleasures with our spouse. And so if we're not able to do that, say for instance, I feel you are doing much. You're doing too much. Say if you're out and then after the party, and so you say to your wife, you were doing too much. You know what I'm saying? And so she may engage back. Well, I'm sorry you felt that way, or it could blow up in your face, or it can be something where I feel we need to spend more time together. And she could say either, no, we don't, or I agree. But again, that's that level 4 of feelings where we can really just be totally real with each other. And so level 5 is needs. And that's a place where we talk about, I need to know that you matter and that you are here to stay. I need to know that. And so therefore you're saying you need something from that person. And so if that person is unable to give that to you then, or not able to communicate that they can give you what your needs are. I need to know that you are not just here for the kids. So we need to really engage in these conversations. Level 6 is beliefs. I believe that our marriage would be better if we had a regular date night and if we had more fun. And I believe I should be your top priority, humanly speaking. I believe that I should be your top priority. So if we don't have all 6 of these communication levels, there's going to be some serious problems and miscommunication. And so therefore, when it comes time for me to be intimate, when it comes time for me to get in a place to be sexually intimate with my wife, then she may be turned off, or I may be turned off, and we're missing each other because we don't have these 6 levels of communication open. But in most marriages, I see that many people have the 2 levels there, the small talk and the facts. So when they have those, then that's really superficial, and many people stay in that place in fear of having the opinion and the needs and the feelings and stay right there because they don't want to confront. What do you think about that?
Oh, I like the progression of the 6 levels, and I think the one thing that is really interesting about that is a few things that I'll mention. Mm-hmm. And one is that they build upon each other. Mm-hmm. It's very hard to have level 6 if you don't have level 1.
Absolutely.
And so what we recognize, or what we don't recognize sometimes, mm-hmm. is that when we're trying to move into a certain level of communication, mm-hmm. the other person may not be able to go there with us because we haven't established a mm-hmm. relationship of communication mm-hmm. on the lower level.
Absolutely.
The second thing that's very relevant is that when you communicate at a particular level and you walk into, and you and I, it's not just couple relationships, but it's any type of relationship. If I walk into the relationship trying to communicate at one level and your response to me comes to another level, mm-hmm. we really can't finish this conversation mm-hmm. until we meet each other at the same level.
Yes,
okay?
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
if
absolutely.
I'm talking from my feelings, mm-hmm. which is level 4, mm-hmm. and you're talking from facts, then we are not going to be able. So either I gotta come to the facts, mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that you can have a baseline to understand why I feel the way you do. Maybe, and let's also deal with this part about facts as well. Mm-hmm. Facts is your reality mm-hmm. and may not be the other person's reality.
Absolutely.
And so I guess that might be where opinions come in. Mm-hmm. But see, sometimes people think that they're in facts when they're actually in opinions.
Yes,
so these are things that we have to recognize as we communicate.
Absolutely.
What I laugh about is this whole piece of small talk. Mm-hmm. And so small talk says that's when you say to somebody, how's your day? Mm-hmm. How's that? So, do you really think, and this is now I'm going back to couples, mm-hmm. do you really think that she wants to cook dinner for you? Uh-huh. If she wants to express the level of intimacy that you want, if you can't say, how's your day? Mm-hmm. If you can't meet some of those basic needs. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so, I've heard this from guys like say, when they get frustrated at the woman trying to just have small talk.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, what did you do today? Tell me something. Mm-hmm. Whatever. And they don't want to have it.
Uh-huh.
But just leave me alone. And like you said, they want to run to the man cave and not have some of those basic mm-hmm. pieces of communication. So, in that man cave, and I know you talk about all of the explicit naughty things that can happen, mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. even when those naughty things aren't happening. Because what I don't want men to hide and say, well, I'm not looking at porn. All I'm doing is watching football and whatever. That you're still isolating
yes.
the
mm-hmm.
partner
mm-hmm.
from these lower level of mm-hmm. communications.
Yeah.
So then at 1 o'clock in the morning, when Monday Night Football's finally off, and you come walking in there, she been in bed for 2 hours. She done cooked, cleaned the house, and all that. And you've been down there watching the game and enjoying yourself. Mm-hmm. And then you want to walk over and engage in closeness.
Yeah.
So there's been a miscommunication.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And while she may occasionally tolerate it, mm-hmm. it's gonna grow.
Very old.
So I mean, and I just say that just in that way of being careful of the man cave.
Okay. Well, again, there are other things that are in the man cave where it's like an escape for us. It's that escape. We have we'll get away from financial decisions. We'll get away from one of the main focal points is that basic small talk of communication, and just even the fact of getting away from the hustle and bustle of the kids. And so we'll get in the cave and we'll just hide. And just kind of like until peep out and say, okay, the coast is clear because everybody's gone to bed. But as you said, look out,
Yeah, because in our confessions, I remember, and we've talked about this. We both were married to wives at some points in our life, and during my marriage, my early part of my marriage, I remember. My cousin mm-hmm. and his wife, mm-hmm. the 4 of us lived together, and we were all newlyweds. Mm-hmm. And we had a 3-level house, and so my wife and his wife would hang out on the middle level, and he and I would go down in the basement. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And we just had us a ball in the basement. I mean, it was like so cool. Mm-hmm. And so what ended up being a regular occurrence mm-hmm. was we would fall asleep mm-hmm. on the couch in the basement watching TV, watching stuff that you ain't got no business watching, because after a while, all the good programming has gone off, and you just watching TV just so the 2 of us can hang out.
Chicka, wow.
And it was nothing, nothing inappropriate or anything like that. But what I'm saying is, the time that he and I were bonding and spending together were time that we both should have been giving, especially as newlyweds, giving to our wives.
Yes.
And we found ourselves very comfortable in that place, in that space of isolation, where it wasn't just a man cave, because it was a men's cave. So it was almost like the frat house down there. We got all the things guys want right there. And you know what? Here we go. We convince ourselves that our wives don't mind. You know why? Because we home. And we're not hanging out with the fellas.
Absolutely.
But the reality is, they could have no more or no less isolation. They would be equally as isolated if we were going out with the fellas as they were us hanging out in the basement.
Yes.
Because the reality is that we were not doing the timely things of attentiveness and having those conversations that needed to take place.
You're absolutely on point, because again, all we would want, or what our wives would have wanted no more than to just be included into, even if we were just sitting down watching television, that invitation.
Right, and you know, he and I mean, just like you and I, we're gonna go through those early steps. What's up, man?
Yeah.
How you doing? Man, it was cold today.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sure was. Oh man, so what you think about this? So, we're going through those early stages. Mm-hmm. But there's really nothing that prevented us from having that say, my wife was cold too.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah.
She had certain things, that went on during the day. Mm-hmm. She had, wanted to know how are you?
Mm-hmm.
All of these things.
And two points. All women really would like to be is heard. You know what I'm saying? She's not really asking for you to solve her problems, but she just want to be heard. And part two of that is to me about inclusivity. Is being able to include them into those spaces where otherwise, it would be a frat house. It could just be, our house of time of enjoyment. Just make it something different. And so, and again, we have to be able to, if we don't realize it, when do we get in a place that we ask suggestions or can be taught that? You know what I'm saying?
And you say inviting them in, and I think it's even a little greater than that. Because, we think we're doing the right things. Oh, y'all can come on downstairs.
Yeah, well. Yeah.
And they don't want to come downstairs. What they want is our time and attention.
Yes.
So sometimes we got to step out of you can't invite them into the man cave. You got to step out of the man cave into their world. Yeah. Because, again, if you invite them into the man cave, y'all going to be communicating at different levels.
Yeah. Opinions and facts. And,
right.
Yeah, we'll be shifting.
She's looking at this like, okay, so what's intimate about, jerseys hanging on the wall and pennants and stuff like that? What's sexy about this? Come on, you know what I'm saying?
Well,
you got that room. I ain't been to your house, but I know you got that room where ain't nothing hanging but jerseys and
highlights
and old clips of you in high school when you ran that first touchdown.
Highlights of our lives.
Right.
And to me, it's something that we like to hold on to because it's memorable.
Right.
That's all.
But you got that. You know what? You still got that jersey from 75-pound football. She ain't gonna let you wear it in the house, but she'll let you wear it as long as you're down that man cave. But it ain't sexy for you to be walking around the basement with that and think that she's gonna get turned on and want to move to level 6.
So your stomach outside the jersey, hanging under the jersey. Yeah, but it's just memorable for us.
Right.
Accomplishment. So
right, but
definitely.
It ain't level 6 communication. She said like it ain't sexy, fellas.
Well, it is number 6, which is belief. She believes that you should put it up. You just have to agree.
It's time for you to retire that.
Absolutely. And I agree. But when we get to that place, even going to where they are, and then even getting to that place where even you're engaging in that conversation, and it may just even migrate to the man cave. Because if you got the pool table down and then, if you have the cards or whatever, it very well could transition down there. But let's not start there. Because like you said,
let's not assume. Right.
They won't come down in the man cave.
TD Jakes talks about this, and I'm sorry, but he talks about and I can't remember the exact term, but he was telling, I think it said Woman Thou Art Loose, and he was telling women about how you dress the room in silk sheets and all that, and then why the men don't like it. And he talked about the slide.
Okay.
So know what I'm saying? It's just just like we don't like all that full stuff for certain reasons. They don't like all the macho stuff that we bring to the table. And that was the correlation I'm making. And if women are watching this, they know about the silk sheet slide. Well, they know about if they read his book. If you have not read the book, you'll understand about how men begin to moonwalk in the bed because of the silk because of the silk sheets.
Yeah. Well, one thing that Pastor Battle do mention.
Oh, he talks about it too.
No, he talks about it from a different space of saying that men are created from the ground, or created from the ground, and women are made from us, from within. So, of course, we're going to be in two different places. That's why men are earthy and women are more emotional than we are. So, definitely, to your point. So, so definitely, I understand. We understand where we are. Another way of communicating, wife, good morning. And good morning, Cindy, daughter, has practice today. Cindy, our daughter, has practice today. Husband, okay. And then husband, Roger, friend called me last night and asked if Timmy could come over and play with Jeffrey, our son, today. Wife, okay, have a nice day. Husband, you too. Again, that's still keeping it in that place. But once we interject those emotions, the feelings and opinions in there, again, as we stated a little bit earlier about during that transaction of conversation, she could say no. The husband could say very well, no, I don't think she should be practicing today. Or the husband could say, well, you basically can pick up our son from school. So again, we got to know how to gauge in conversation with one another. To keep ourselves in the place of the level of conversation to progress, from, facts through opinions to beliefs, and then we're in agreement with, where we feel our beliefs are. So we can engage and empower one another. Because again, when that disconnect happened, I think when we don't meet needs or one another needs, or we cease to meet one another needs or engage in conversations that is fulfilling, I think that opens a door. What do you think?
No, and I think you're right. And again, even in this example where the response is okay, mm-hmm. The question often is, okay, what?
Yeah.
Because okay means something different to you than it does to me. If I say, I need you to go to the store, and you say, okay, mm-hmm. Does that mean you're going to do it? Or does that just mean, okay, you got a need?
Yeah.
And that's the reality of certain things. So mm-hmm. Those types of miscommunications happen. And as we talk about in communication, for communication to take place, mm-hmm. there has to be a transmit and a receive.
Yes.
And if the receive does not take place, then communication hasn't taken place. All you've done is transmitted. You've sent the message.
Yes.
That somebody else didn't receive. And when you have those types of conversations going, and at the end of the day, we all had them, because I thought you meant, and this, that, and the other, where mm-hmm. certain things just weren't clear.
Yeah. And so therefore, again, we go through those progressions to really put our fingers on the pulse of one another. Here's the affirmation to the chapter. And the affirmation is, I will seek genuine intimacy and connection with my spouse instead of seeking virtual pleasure with strangers. And again, I will read books, watch videos, go to counseling, and do whatever else necessary to strengthen my ability to communicate effectively with my spouse. And one thing I would say, I dare to say, is that a lot of times we say, well, I ain't going to counseling, ain't nothing wrong with me, something wrong with you can go. But I think that there's nothing wrong with even continuing counseling after the wedding and you're now in your marriage, just for checkup purposes. And just to, making sure that, you're navigating and you're going down the right road. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. I'm a proponent for counseling of all kinds, career, marriage, relationship, and I think it's very healthy. Uh-huh. And it's kind of just like we should at least go to the doctor and have our physical checkups on a regular basis. I think it's also important for us to have those check-ins with a counselor or a trained professional who can help us sort through some of our beliefs and some of our systems that are controlling our actions.
Absolutely, that's good. I like that. Just like a car, is just you want to make sure you get those 3,000 mile intervals in, because there's nothing with having a lot of gunk in the engine, and that deals with the performance.
And you know what? You said it. And have you noticed how some people can keep cars pristine for 15, 20 years, and they can get another one and keep another one 15, 20 years, and they're able to do that. It's because of the way they take care of it. But then you also look at this. You look at relationships. There's some people who can keep long-term relationships. And,
Somebody ought to start this collection right here.
And the reason they're able to keep long-term relationships is because they give attentive maintenance to the relationship.
Absolutely.
And again, we're talking for the most part, because of the context of this book, is from a married couple. But relationship management is, why some people can't keep a job, why certain people, every Thanksgiving they fall out with somebody in the family. Every time, there is a vote at the church, they're in the midst of something. And what it is because they have not given maintenance to the relationship. And they begin to have breakdowns.
Come on, somebody.
And
Come on.
And stalling and things of that nature. And now they have to go back to the shop for a major repair rather than maintenance.
What could have been avoided. And all you have to do is read the book. Read the manual. Read your manual, and you'll be able to receive all the benefits and the features, and continue to be the high performance vehicle that you were created to be. Good job. Good job. I like that. I like that analogy. That's all right. All right, let's go on and we can move through chapter 3, ladies and gentlemen. The making of a side chick. The making of a side chick. I thought this one here, girlfriend mentality. When young ladies have the girlfriend mentality, they never transition to wife mentality. To start that off, being a side chick begins with the way a woman views herself. Too often, women have been content viewing themselves as a girlfriend, and it's a status that they value. That's okay when you're a teenager, but at some point, you don't have to shift in your thinking from being girlfriend material to being wife material. You will always have a girlfriend mentality, which will impact what you expect and accept in your life relationally. This is where I want to talk to some young ladies here, and I know we do have some young ladies that are viewing the show. At what point did you shift from girlfriend to wife? Not you, but I was looking at you because you're here. But talking to the
and I think you're right. I think when we look at this topic, it's a topic that really requires a diverse dialogue.
Yes.
Because the dialogue is so deep and rich in so many different perspectives, you really need to hear those perspectives.
Yeah. Sister Session, our producer, at what point were you able to shift from a girlfriend mentality to a wife mentality?
When I met a man with a husband mentality, which is also going to force me to shift. Although I can say, what really is a girlfriend mentality? What exactly is that? I was never one to just accept anything. So does that make a difference? What type of girlfriend? When you're saying that girlfriend mentality, even as a girlfriend, we shouldn't be accepting just anything. Even as a girlfriend, I shouldn't just be getting a piece of your time. There should be times where you're doing things to meet my needs and I'm meeting your needs, to even see if it can grow from girlfriend, boyfriend to husband and wife. So when I met someone that I think had the correct mentality, then I started changing.
You started shifting.
Shifting.
But again, for all intents and purposes, from the book, what he's saying is that young ladies, they stay in the girlfriend mentality, and they meet a young man, and although they give that young man, which is just a boyfriend, husband,
Rights.
rights. They give them husband rights. So, and it's because oftentimes she has not been able to shift out of seeing herself as a girlfriend.
And maybe it just takes a deeper dive into wordsmithing. But I don't think a side chick is a mentality of its own. That a side chick doesn't have girlfriend mentality. A side chick, it doesn't necessarily say, I want to be your girlfriend, or willing to accept even girlfriend status, because they're accepting being the second fiddle. You remember when you were in the school band and you played first
chair.
You played first chair and second chair, and
I think I always played first chair.
But what I'm saying is the design was that it was first chair and second chair, and what your objective was to move somebody out of the first chair.
Yes, sir.
Okay, but that's not a side chick mentality of moving the person out of the first chair and moving from second chair. They have a desire to be in the second chair.
They're comfortable sitting there. I mean,
And
when
that's
you think of side chick mentality, and I have friends, their mentality is, I don't have to deal with all his bull, I don't have to worry about cleaning up behind him. So it almost becomes like a perpetual honeymoon for them, because they don't have to deal with the day-to-day. Where I think, as you said, with a girlfriend, I'm willing to deal with the day-to-day to see if it's going to take me or if it's worth investing in for the year-to-year, and so on.
Okay. Wife versus girlfriend thinking. A girlfriend's mentality is when you're content being an important part of a man's life rather than being his most important human priority. He doesn't view you as someone worthy enough to reveal his relationship with you, so you end up settling for being intimate in the night, but a stranger in the light. By contrast, when you have a wife's mentality, even as a single woman, you require that in serious courtship relationship that a man has with you be a public thing. This protects you from manipulative men who prey on women who are not ensconced in a circle of support and love in their lives. So again, we have, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I just have some comments
Go ahead.
from a few ladies. Sister Patricia Denise, he's receiving husband benefits with the liberty of being single. So that's what a side chick would allow. Or Sister Leslie Cash Tibbs, side chicks and side slicks only want the benefits but not the responsibility.
Wow, very, very, very true. And again, it's a mentality. And so as he's going into this book here with a girlfriend mentality, that it's some women have not made that transition, and I think I would even say that maturity. And so as you look at chapter 2. Chapter 2 is that he's been in a place where the making of an adulterer. So he's going to proposition, and he's going to see certain young ladies as a girlfriend, just want to keep her right there. And if she doesn't have wife mentality, then he's not going to promote that, because his main thing is he wants the side chick. So I guess what I'm trying to do is give you the progression out of the book, because see, while he's in his cave, he's becoming more and more detached from his wife, and becoming more enthralled into himself. So he's self-pleasuring, and it's all about him now. So now as he goes out, and then there's a making of a side chick, now he's on the hunt. And so he's looking for the very prey of a woman who do not see herself as a wife and only a girlfriend. And then again, as you guys were alluding to, you see some young ladies out there who want the benefits and don't want that relationship or the seriousness or the commitment. So again, you start now, that whole piece of developing that relationship. And so now you got things, and I've seen it where it was okay, giggles and grins in the beginning, but then as that relationship goes, somebody caught feelings.
Right, when they started expecting much. For me, if you are the one stepping out, you're loving it because that's constant attention. I'm giving you everything
Yes.
that you wouldn't get from home. The minute you walk through my door, I'm acting how happy I am to see you, what you got going on, because I don't have to deal with all of the other stuff you have to do. As you said, hiding in the man cave where you can step away from financial decisions. You can step away from all daily decisions we have to do as adults. You don't have to do that when you're coming to see me. I don't care if you're doing it because I'm just here. This is just our relationship. So it's a win-win for everyone. And again, yeah, some women you have to cultivate. You're cultivating. You're throwing feelers out. Hey, can this be that person? And I know won't catch feelings, or I can manipulate enough to keep them in that position.
Yeah, and again, when you talk about grooming, he's out there, he's grooming, he's setting it up because again, that's what he desires at this point, because again, he has no bit more trying to be with that woman in a real relationship, but just, seeking that attention and enthralled with that forbidden fruit, that forbidden apple. So again, there are a lot of women who are actually hurting their chances to be the wife that they desire to be because they keep settling for being a girlfriend by title, but a wife in every other aspect for a man. But the reality is, a lifetime girlfriend will rarely become a full-time wife. What do you think about that?
Again, I think I'm not agreeing with the terms used. And so I understand the point that he's attempting to make, but I think that there's a difference between a woman who is a girlfriend and being treated as a girlfriend, and a woman who is the side chick. So I think there are totally different circumstances, and so when you look at those circumstances, then I think some of that is what he says is true about the side chick, but not true about the girlfriend. Because many people choose to have very healthy non-marriage relationships. And so let's respect the fact that they've made those choices, and they've still made choices to be monogamous and things of that nature. And so I don't think his comment is intended for them. And so that's why I don't agree with the use of the term, because I think it means it can be misleading in what it's saying to that audience. Again, like I said, I'm wordsmithing.
Yeah. But I think one thing that we have to see is that as he's talking about wife versus girlfriend, and again, as we alluded earlier, we'll see the progression. So as we continue to move forward, we'll begin to see the progression, because the next point that I'm gonna run to is friends with benefits. So again, a girlfriend mentality. We're talking about a young woman, for all intents and purposes, not to degrade, not to speak ill of anyone, but to just say that sometimes women who become girlfriends but have the desire to marry is all I'm saying.
Right, and there's a big difference between a girlfriend, a side chick, friends with benefits. And so for the sake of this discussion, I think we need to make that distinction.
Okay.
Or do you just break it down, girlfriends of married men? Because that's what he's focusing on.
Yes.
Or boyfriends of a married woman.
Yes.
Right, and so that's why we're talking about the side chick and the side slick. So now when we start talking about girlfriends and boyfriends, now we're stepping into another realm that was not intended for this discussion. And so that's why I say I want to use terms that are consistent so that it's clear.
Okay.
And I mean, that's all I'm saying. I know we're running out of time, and you and I have this conversation offline so that the audience doesn't have to see us, go through
Our debate.
Tug of war. But no, I understand. Point taken. And for all intents and purposes, we can say, side chick is the one who settles and who desires to be married, but settles for the relationship with the married man. And vice versa with the man settling for a relationship with a married woman, which is the side slick.
Absolutely.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I pray that you get this book and you walk through this. This is some good information. And again, I'll put the points, the levels of communications points on the screen in the feed. And I hope that you are able to read them. But if not, definitely go to sagacitycommunity.com, get the book. It is Chickology, Why Men and Women Cheat, and Recovering from Infidelity, to know that you can make it back from that place. And also, if you go to sagacitycommunity.com, you'll see a host of other information there that is free and that will help aid and assist you in your relationship. And by the time we get to chapter 10 is free on the website. If you go, you can download that, and then you can even be prepared for when we get to chapter 10 as well. So there's a wealth of information, and it's free. Some of it's free and some of it is paid, but definitely much of the free content, it will help aid and assist you in your relationship. So definitely, we thank you so much for tuning in tonight, and we definitely appreciate it. Go ahead, my brother.
I wasn't saying nothing.
No, I was getting ready to give you
Oh, okay.
your moment to,
All right.
boom.
Well, again, it's always good to share, and we appreciate all of you who join us tonight. Again, we are live, and so please, send us your comments and keep being engaged with us, and we thank you for the support. We're not on the same network we used to be on, so some of you had to have found us through some new means, but same show.
Absolutely.
Same content, same time.
Yes.
Like in the old days, we just ain't on the same channel, but it's still same My Brother's Keeper with Dr. Michael Green.
And Dr. Bryan Champion. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, definitely we are, God, thankful that you're able to be a part of the show with us. And again, this is an amazing book. This is an amazing read. And my prayer is that it's able to open the dialogue and allow us to continue to communicate effectively with one another as we go along our journey of relationship, building stronger relationships. So our time is up, ladies and gentlemen. We definitely thank you for yours. And remember, you can go to YouTube, My Brother's Keeper, LinkedIn, My Brother's Keeper, the same, as well as Vimeo, My Brother's Keeper, and replay this, and definitely like and share. And we ask that you go to YouTube and subscribe. So our time is up. And when good men stand together, they become greater. We are our brother's keeper, and see you on the other side of greatness. God bless you. Thank you for watching.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have just tuned in to My Brother's Keeper show, hosted by Pastor Dr. Michael Green.